The house was supposed to be quiet. That was the first thing Nora said when she signed the papers. She wanted quiet. It was a writer's retreat, the agent had told her. A small estate on the edge of the woods, perfect for focus, for solitude. The walls were thick, the neighbors miles away, and the only sound, he promised, would be the wind. But the house had other ideas. The first week passed in silence. Nora wrote at the oak desk by the window, drinking lukewarm coffee and watching the forest bend under the weight of rain. The air smelled of paper and dust and something faintly sweet, like the ghost of someone else's perfume. She liked the way sound moved here, slowly, as if it had to climb the walls before it could reach her. When she spoke aloud, her voice came back softer, calmer, as though the room were trying to reassure her. On the 8th day, she read a sentence from her new manuscript out loud. "I don't know what I'm becoming." And from somewhere deep inside the house, a voice repeated, "Becoming, becoming." She froze. It wasn't an echo. Echoes fade. This one lingered, curious. She told herself it was her imagination, or maybe an acoustic quirk of the stairwell. But that night, as she prepared for bed, she whispered into the dark, half-mocking, "Good night." And the house whispered back, "Good night." After that, she stopped talking to herself. The following morning, the mirror in the hallway was fogged, though there'd been no shower, no heat. Words had formed on the glass, faint, almost invisible. "Write it." Nora cleaned it with her sleeve, heart hammering. Later, when she sat at her desk, she found that her unfinished chapter had been completed. The handwriting was hers. The phrasing wasn't. That night, the walls began to murmur. Not loud enough to frighten her, just enough to make her listen. Sometimes they whispered words from her manuscripts. Sometimes they asked questions. Why did she leave? Why did you stay? She began answering. Quietly at first. Then freely. The house, she realized, wasn't haunted in the traditional sense. It was responsive. It didn't scream, or shake, or bleed. It simply waited for language. And the more she spoke, the more it spoke back. She stopped using the phone. The outside world grew dim. Her editor left 3 voicemails. Then 4. She didn't listen to any of them. The house didn't like interruptions. In the 3rd week, the whispers shifted from repetition to imitation. When she coughed, the house coughed. When she laughed, a softer laugh followed, slightly delayed, as though practicing. Once, when she cried, the sound came back not from the walls but from the floorboards beneath her, trembling, uncertain, learning. She wrote faster than she ever had before. Whole chapters appeared overnight. Some mornings, the paper was still warm, as if the ink had only just dried. The sentences were beautiful and cruel and not entirely hers. When she read them aloud, the house sighed, long and pleased, like a teacher watching a student understand. By the end of the month, Nora began sleeping downstairs, closer to the voice. The attic was too noisy now. The walls up there spoke even when she wasn't talking, muttering lines she hadn't written yet. Sometimes, she heard her own name. Not shouted, not called. Remembered. She decided to test it. She whispered a single word she'd never written before, "Forgive." The reply came instantly. No. She tried again, louder. "Forgive." The house paused, then answered. Why? Her throat closed. For the first time, she was afraid. The next morning, she packed her things. The house stayed silent while she zipped her bag, silent as she stepped toward the front door. Then, as her hand touched the knob, the walls behind her began to whisper, not words, but her own voice, replayed perfectly. Every apology she'd ever spoken. Every lie. Every desperate promise she'd made and never kept. They layered over one another until the sound became unbearable, a storm of herself. She covered her ears, but the noise was inside her. When it finally stopped, the house spoke clearly, in a tone that wasn't hers anymore. You don't get to leave in the middle of a sentence. She ran. Outside, the air was cold and dry. The house behind her loomed quiet and perfect, as if nothing had happened. She didn't look back until she reached the gate. From the second-floor window, a light flickered on. A figure stood at her writing desk, pen moving, head tilted toward the wall. It looked like her. The next day, the estate agent received an envelope with no return address. Inside was a single sheet of paper, written in Nora's handwriting. The house answers back now. Listen closely. That night, the agent swore he heard whispering through the office walls, soft, rhythmic, like the scratching of a pen. And on the mirror behind his desk, fogged by nothing, appeared two faint words. Write it.